Hello class 11. Today we are going to do the second part of this lesson and we are going to focus on capitalist economy. Okay, and before we see what is a capitalist economy, we must know what an economic system is. So basically economic system is a system where all the combining all the institutions, we come to know the economic choices, and we also talk about the scarce resources which are actually utilized for the purpose of satisfying the human wants. So basically economic system is a sum total of all those devices and institutions through which economic choices are made and scarce resources are used for the purpose of satisfying human wants. Now, capitalism. What is capitalism? So capitalism is actually an economy in which productive resources are owned by private individuals who use these resources to earn profits, and in which the state intervention is minimum, so that economic activities are mostly unplanned and uncoordinated. So basically there are some important points in this. Private individuals, resources are utilized, okay, state intervention is minimum, and profits are earned. These are some important features of a capitalist economy. Therefore, a capitalist economy is owned by private individuals, and resources are utilized in order to earn profits. Also, the government intervention in between the works is very minimum, and also economic activities are mostly unplanned and uncoordinated. Now we are going to see the features of a capitalist economy, or in other words, we are going to see the features of capitalism. So the first feature is private property. Now basically private property means that individual owners of the production have the right to acquire and to use and to sell the property. So there are some private owners who have the authority to utilize the property, or to sell out the property, or to acquire it, to possess it. These are all different things that a private owner can do. So which means that the owners of such productions, they actually take the decisions regarding what to produce, how much to produce, for whom to produce. All of this is being thought by the private individuals or owners. So basically ownership of private properties, not that it's totally in the hands of the private. There will be some kinds of restrictions imposed by the government, but like we saw in the meaning that the intervention of state is minimum. So government can have restrictions on these private properties, but to a certain extent. The next feature is right of inheritance. Now in this, the right of inheritance actually means that the property is owned by an individual, okay, and that property can be legally passed on to the sons and daughters of that individual, okay. So that means the property remains in the hands of that particular family. So it keeps moving legally into the hands of the heirs of the family, but it will not go into the hands of the government. So it's moving on to the future generations, but not to the government. So right of inheritance is there. Next feature is freedom of enterprise and occupation. Now what happens is that private enterprises are actually free to use the resources for the purpose of production, and they can also choose the product of their own choice. They can choose the resources of their own choice. Then also individuals have their own choice according to their talents, according to their abilities, according to their efficiency, also according to their education and training. They can choose an occupation. So there is absolute freedom given to the people and to the producers. The next feature is freedom of choice for consumers. Actually, in a capitalist economy, consumers are considered to be sovereign. That means they are considered to be the kings in the society. So there is a freedom for the consumers to choose. Okay, they are free to buy the commodity, they are free to consume the goods, and they are free to choose between which service they want to utilize. They are also free to spend their income on whatever good they want to, or whatever service they prefer. So the consumers are considered kings in this kind of an economy. Next feature is price mechanism. Okay, so price mechanism is actually a process in which the prices of goods and services are determined by the market forces. And what are the market forces? That is demand and supply. So on the basis of the demand and supply of commodities, the prices are determined. Okay, so this is price mechanism. So basically, price mechanism plays a great role in organizing production, and it also plays a great role in distributing goods among different individuals. The next is competition. This is a very it's an integral part of capitalism, and because profit motive is the interest of capitalism, therefore a lot of competition is ensured. So competition is ensured in the sense that there is rivalry between the participants in the market. That means different firms will have rivalry. Okay, so what happens is that competition, in one way, it leads to economic efficiency also, because everyone is in the choice of in the mood of performing better than the other companies, or better than the other institutions. So there is efficiency that can be seen. Competition also ensures that goods and services are produced at lower possible rates. Or in other words, the cost of production. So at low rates and low cost of production, firms try to produce commodities. So this is another feature. The next one is profit motive. Actually, see, every industry working in capitalism, their motive is going to be maximization of profit. That is their sole motive. That's the only motive they have. Okay, so they use this motive as their motivation to produce better. Okay, so this helps to boost their production. So the more profits they want to earn, the more better the production they can do. Okay, the next feature is self-interest. Now what happens is that every individual is actually guided by self-interest. Okay, so for example, let's assume that producers aim, because producers are aiming to earn maximum profits, or they are trying to think about maximization of profits. So that is something that is their self-interest. So producers are having a self-interest of profit motive. On the other hand, laborers also have their own self-interest. Their self-interest is to earn higher wages for their services that they are providing. So everyone is guided by their own interest. Okay, they are not forced, but they are guided by their own interest. They are not forced by anybody else, but they have their own interest behind working in this kind of an economy. And the last feature is minimum government interference. Capitalism is also known as laissez-faire, and laissez-faire kind of an economy means where there is no interference. So there is very, very less interference by the government. Not many restrictions are there, and it's a free kind of an economy. Consumers and producers are free, absolutely free to take their own independent decisions. Therefore, government control is not really there. Okay, so these are the features of a capitalist economy. We're going to move on to the merits of capitalism, or we can say the benefits of a capitalist economy. So the first merit is spirit of enterprise. So basically, producers are motivated to bring improvements in production activities so that they can earn profits and they can compete with other producers. So this helps them to become risk takers. They are able to take risks for the purpose of earning profits. So this brings them a spirit. This tries to bring a spirit of enterprise. This leads them to it's kind of an infused like an attitude in them, where a spirit of enterprise enters them. Next is incentive for technological progress. Now producers have actually been motivated to develop new techniques of production. Okay, and why they are wanting to develop new techniques of production is because they want to face the competition, and not only face the competition but also earn profits. Okay, so competition has actually encouraged the producers to bring new and improved technologies. Okay, so this is quite helpful, and this is a benefit in capitalism. Next point is efficient use of resources. Now in this case, what happens is that producers are under a pressure all the time. and the pressure is to maximize the efficiency of resources and to keep the costs lower so that they can earn high profits. See, if the cost of production is going to be low, the consumers will be willing to pay more for the commodity. If already they are going to propose a higher price, then nobody would want to give a higher price, right? So basically the producers are under a lot of pressure to bring efficiency in the use of resources, okay? And also on the other hand, the workers also work efficiently so that they are given higher income. So they are also working efficiently, and that helps them to bring out a very good production. So this is also a benefit of capitalism. Next is incentive for capital formation. Actually, see, we all know that the desire is to earn profits in a capitalist economy, and this actually provides a motive for higher investment. In other words, earning higher profits becomes a motivation to higher investment. So higher level of saving and investment helps, or it leads to higher income, and it also leads to economic growth. That means higher economic growth. The next merit is new consumer goods. Now, because the motive is ultimately to earn maximum profits, right? So this motivates the producers to produce new variety of goods and services for the consumer. So on the other hand, not only profit making, but also competition has also forced and encouraged the producers to produce new kinds of varieties of consumer goods. The next merit is flexibility and adaptability. So basically capitalism has this quality of flexibility and adaptability. That means it has adapted itself to the changing conditions in the economy. Okay, there can be political crisis, okay, there can be business cycles, there can be recession, there can be depression, there can be sometimes prosperity in the economy, sometimes there can be a recovery session or a period of recovery in the economy. In such a situation also, a capitalist economy is quite flexible. It is able to adapt itself according to the conditions it is facing in the economy. The next is automatic working. Actually, in capitalism, there is no planning body. There is no agency that plans or makes decisions regarding economy. Okay, so even after such a situation where there is no planning happening, still still a capitalist economy, it operates in a smooth and proper sequential manner. It very orderly works properly, okay, in an orderly manner. So automatic functioning is very essential in this kind of an economy, and therefore it's quite present in the economy. So automatic working means even after no planning is happening, still a capitalist economy works very smoothly. The next merit is economic freedom. Now actually the government restrictions are very low, very minimum. So there is a lot of freedom that is seen. Freedom to save, freedom to invest, anything can be done. Basically, economic freedom is considered to be the backbone of a capitalist economy. Okay. And the second last merit is increase in production of standard of living. So because this is a capitalist economy and profit motive is the thing, good quality products are produced, and this actually has when good quality products are produced at cheaper rates, it is really helping the society to increase their standard of living. So people in this kind of countries, or we can say in these kinds of economies, that means a capitalist economy, people are really enjoying higher incomes, they are enjoying higher standards of living, they are enjoying luxury and leisure. And the last merit is expansion of international trade. In capitalist economy, in this kind of a system, the trade is very free between countries. There is free trade between countries because there is no government intervention in between. Therefore, the trade is very easily able to expand. A lot of import and export takes place. Okay, so these are the merits. Now we will move on to the demerits. So the first demerit that we are going to see is inequalities of income and wealth. See, actually there is a large disparity in the distribution of income and wealth in a capitalist economy. Okay, so a person in on one hand will see poverty, on the other hand a person is going to see high buildings, on the other hand a person is going to see slums, someone is going to see luxuries, someone is going to see hunger. So this is the situation in capitalist economy, where a part of the society is facing poverty, unemployment, hunger, slums, and on the other hand the other part of the economy is seeing multi-storied buildings, is living very in a luxurious manner. So there is a lot of inequality in the income and wealth of the society. Okay, in other words, we can say that in capitalist economy the rich becomes richer and the poor become poorer. Next demerit is class struggle. Now class struggle is actually a direct consequence of the inequalities that are found in a capitalist economy. Just now we saw about inequalities, and this is what leads to class struggle. That means this is what brings inequality among rich and the poor. So in a capitalist economy the society has been divided into two categories. One is the haves and the other is the have-nots. That means some have something, the others don't have something. Okay, so that means don't haves are the poor ones and the haves are the richer society. So in capitalist economy the class, or the society is divided into two categories, the rich and the poor, and they really struggle because there is a lot of gap between both of the kinds of people in the society, and different kinds of adverse effects happen because of strikes and all. Why strikes and all take place? Because of the gap, because of so much struggle between the kinds of people in the society. Next is economic instability. So basically a capitalist economy can lead to economic instability. Okay, this kind of instability actually arises because there is no coordination, there is no planning committee, there is no controlling agency, there is nothing like that. Therefore it will lead to instability. The instability would mean sometimes either there is overproduction of commodities, sometimes there is underproduction. So overproduction means more than required production, underproduction would mean less than the required production. Sometimes there will be inflation, sometimes there will be depression, sometimes there will be prosperity or boom in the economy, sometimes suddenly there will be unemployment and poverty. So lot of fluctuation is going to happen. This is instability in the economy. Then next is misallocation of resources. Now in a capitalist economy actually the rich people have high purchasing power, they have the capacity to purchase more. Okay, so what happens is that resources are used for the production of luxury items and comforts. Why? Because the purchasing power of rich people is more. So they will be able to spend more on the goods and services that are being produced. So what happens is that necessity goods are not being really produced because producers earn more profits on the luxury items. So now the resources are not equally being distributed. So resources are mostly being used in what? In producing the luxury items rather than the necessity goods. So this is a drawback of capitalist economy. Next demerit is wastes of capitalist production. Now waste can happen in 2-3 different ways. Like one waste can happen in this way, that the old technologies are discarded. Why? Because new technology is coming up. And why new technology has to be used? Because they have to earn profits and they have to face the competition in the market. Then also consumers, so this production techniques of production are discarded by the producers or wasted by the producers. On the other hand, consumers also do some kind of discarding. And what do they discard? They discard the commodities they have, they already have, for the new models coming up. So what happens is that consumers are also trying to to have a better status. For that purpose they are trying to accept the new models coming up and they try to waste and remove the previous one. So that also leads to wastage. And then on the other hand, too much advertisement is done so that sales can be done. So producers are forcing a lot of advertisement work. They are trying to through advertisement trying to sell their commodities. So what happens in this? Too much advertisement is going to lead to higher cost of production, and this higher cost of production burden will fall on whom? Producers are not going to pay it, consumers will pay it. So basically in the cost, in the price of the commodity, this cost, high and increased cost of production will be added. Okay, so ultimately this burden is going to fall, or this pressure is going to fall upon the consumers. So this is also a demerit of a capitalist economy. The next one is emergence of monopoly. Okay, so what happens is, in a capitalist economy, because already there are so many industries and companies working, so the giant industries which are very powerful, those kinds of industries actually become monopolists, and they start charging higher prices by from the consumers. They start exploiting the consumers by charging very high prices. So actually the monopolists are responsible for the misallocation and the maldistribution of productive resources. On the other hand, the next demerit is neglect of social welfare, because profit motive is the ultimate aim of capitalism. Therefore social welfare is not in their list. Okay, so they totally neglect social welfare. And the last demerit is domination of economic values. So basically capitalist economy is promoting more of materialism and less of values. It has given more emphasis on earning money. Okay, that is the main purpose of life, and everyone has their self-interest, and they have to earn money to any extent, even if they have to use foul methods, wrong methods. So that that moral values, religious values, cultural values are all missing in a capitalist economy. Okay students, I hope you all have understood. I believe that you're going to properly revise this lesson, this portion, and in the videos after this you will find features, merits and demerits of socialist economy as well as a mixed economy. That is how you will be able to one by one go through all the kinds of economies. All the best students.